Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
New at noon in Kerr County, commissioners met this morning to talk about flood updates. The new flood warning system's timeline was brought up, with former NASA manager Tom Moser saying that the project is running ahead of schedule.
Well, in the resource news, Kerr Together is preparing for families' long-term needs. And if you're in the area and want to learn more about these recovery efforts, there will be a town hall tonight happening at 6 p.m. hosted by Kerr County Commissioner Rich Paces.
And it is day 3 of the murder trial of Melissa Perez, and in just 30 minutes, we'll be live streaming it on KSAT Plus and KSAT.com.
Well, yesterday, body camera footage showed a struggle between Melissa Perez and the officers on trial. Officers Alfred Flores, Eleazar Alejandro, and Nathaniel Villalobos shot and killed Perez. Now, prosecutors argue that she was not a threat. However, the defense says she was a danger to herself and to others. Police were called there that night after reports that Perez cut a fire alarm at her apartment complex.
They played a 911 call from Perez's neighbor the night of the shooting, who said, quote, "She's being violent and has pliers in her hand," end quote. The first responding officer, Jesus Rojas, took the stand and answered questions about his encounter with Perez.
Was she physically aggressive to you at any point?
No, sir.
Was there any mental health unit officers or personnel that you could have dispatched for that call?
No.
Sorry?
No, sir.
All right.
All 3 former officers on trial face up to life in prison if they're convicted. Again, testimony resumes at 12:30 p.m.
Well, it's been more than 900 days since Bexar County commissioners voted to examine whether the sheriff's office has enough patrol deputies. However, that study has still not taken place. Commissioner Grant Moody pushed for this research to be done and says he is frustrated by the lack of movement.
If the court decides to take action, especially unanimous action, towards moving forward with the study, then that study should occur.
Tonight on the Night Beat, KSAT investigates what happened and whether any deputies have been added since the vote.
Outside with live cam, 80 degrees.
Yeah, we are at 80 degrees in San Antonio. Plenty of sunshine for us. And temperatures are on their way to 90. There are some clouds, however, that have started to develop, especially to the west and south of San Antonio. Let's take a look at your screen here. You can see those clouds, puffy cumulus clouds for areas like Del Rio, Eagle Pass, a bit more stratus in nature down toward Corpus Christi, where there is a little bit of rain. But no rain for us. We're at 80 in San Antonio. It's 86 in Carrizo Springs, 81 in Del Rio, 79 in Kerrville, and 80 in Fredericksburg. For the rest of the day, we're going to have very similar weather to yesterday, climbing to 90 for the high with low humidity, mostly sunny skies, clear skies tonight. Temperatures all week long, cool mornings, hot afternoons. It'll still be pleasant, though, with low humidity, and we'll have a dry heat. But all of this, my friends, is a fall fail. There is not going to be any cool weather soon for us. The cool front we were tracking has backed off quite a bit. I'll have the latest on that and any rain associated with that front coming up in just a bit. Courtney.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Well, a local grieving family is mourning the loss of their 16-year-old son after he was hit by a truck outside John Jay High School. Jose Flores III was a student at the school and was hit back on September 16th. This past weekend, he died from his injuries after spending a month in the hospital. His parents are remembering him for his heart and his sense of humor. San Antonio police say the driver in this case is not facing any charges, but Jose's parents still want people to be cautious.
Please watch out, be careful, make sure there's no kids around. Because no family should have to go through this.
Jose's organs will be donated. His mom and dad said he wanted to be a firefighter, so this is one way for him to still save lives.
Well, 3 people are in custody after a road rage incident involving the driver of a car and a man riding a scooter. So this happened yesterday morning on the city's northeast side near Perrin Bottle Road and Perrin Central. Police say a scooter rider and driver got into an argument after the scooter rider claimed the driver almost hit him. Police say right now it's not clear whether the driver actually hit the scooter or if the rider threw the scooter at the car. What is known is that the scooter was dragged underneath the car to a gas station. The rider then called a family member, and together they confronted the driver of the car at the gas station. Police say that family member shot at the car's tire. Now, all three men were taken into custody. Right now, police are reviewing video from the area to figure out exactly what led up to the shooting. No one was hurt.
Well, he used to teach at the University of the Incarnate Word, and now he's been sentenced to 30 years in prison for child porn possession. 41-year-old Troy Mishler pleaded guilty to 2 of the 10 charges against him on Monday. Live Oak police say Mishler admitted to watching child pornography at an event in Nebraska in January of last year. Investigators say they found more than 500 depictions of child sex abuse material in his home. A UIW spokesperson confirmed to KSAT that Mishler taught animation and game design at the university for 4 years until he was fired in January of 2024. On top of his prison sentence, he has to pay a $5,000 fine and register as a sex offender.
Well, we are still waiting for an update on the condition of a woman rescued from this fire that you see right here on your screen. That video showing flames shooting through the windows of a home in Schertz.
This happened on Friday when neighbors rescued that woman who was trapped inside. People who live in the area say they heard and felt an explosion just before they saw the fire started. Many of them blame a gas leak.
I'm a journeyman plumber. I know what that smell is, and I knew it was a pretty big issue. But whenever I walked out on my front porch and it was very strong, I knew something was up.
So that is Austin Stack, who is a neighbor there, and he told our KSAT crews that he called CenterPoint Energy, and he said they told him there was not a leak at his home and then left after that.
We have reached out to CenterPoint, who sent us a statement that reads in part, "The cause of the incident remains under investigation and we will continue to support the investigating agencies," end quote. The woman who was rescued was taken to the hospital and we're still waiting to hear how she's doing.
Well, as for the cause of that fire, the Schertz Fire Department and other agencies are continuing to investigate.
Well, local families are feeling the impact of the government shutdown as they turn to food pantries. Still ahead, how a nonprofit is making sure these families get what they need.
And with the San Antonio growing so fast, many families are struggling to get by. How a new resource center on the city's east side is making a big difference for the community.
And Texas leaders are launching an investigation into the deadly July floods. How this probe could shape the future of summer camps and disaster preparedness. Top Texas Republicans have launched joint House and Senate committees to investigate the deadly July floods that killed more than 130 people, including 25 young girls and 2 teenage counselors from Camp Mystic.
Well, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and House Speaker Dustin Burrows said the panels will, quote, get to the bottom of what happened, examining the facts, the state's disaster preparedness and response, and specifically how youth summer camps handled that event.
In a release, Patrick said he was shocked to hear Camp Mystic already has a plan to reopen next year, a move that's drawn criticism from some grieving parents.
Well, Camp Mystic says it looks forward to cooperating with the investigation to help the public understand what happened. The committees will meet jointly as they work through their findings and recommendations.
Among the members is Senator Jose Menendez from right here in San Antonio, and today we're actually speaking with him about what he hopes to accomplish on that committee.
Right outside, we have got beautiful blue skies, but it is warm. We are already in the 80s around San Antonio. Hey, I want to show you a look at the pollen count. So ragweed is low today, which is good, and molds are low as well, but we are in the thick of ragweed season. Ragweed season does usually come to an end in November, and we have a short break before mountain cedar, of course, starts again. But the thing is, again, we start to see the end of ragweed season here shortly. The aquifer, though, is down 1 foot in the last 24 hours, more than 35 feet below the monthly average. Is there any glimmer of hope for rain in our future? I'll have the latest coming up.
The government shutdown is in its 14th day, and our neediest communities are already falling victim to the financial cuts.
This is the Care Zone at Dwight Middle School on the south side. The nonprofit Eagles Flight Advocacy and Outreach runs it. They provide families in that area with clothing, diapers, formula, and food.
And our Patty Santos tells us why they are losing 1/3 of their funding this month.
Inside Dwight Middle School's Care Zone are the women that stock 3 rooms that provide formula, meals, and clothes to families in the South Side.
Just from this location, we serve about 150,000 people a year.
But the economy has shifted and the donations are harder to get.
We've seen a change in the past year, even with our larger donors who have not been able to give, or their budgets, or it's not included in their budget.
And now they are seeing the impacts of the government shutdown.
We were just notified this week that our funding that comes in through the state is going to be postponed because of the shutdown.
We've been hearing about the government shutdown. Did you think it was going to hit you this fast, or even hit you at all?
You know, I was just hoping that we would have a day or two of it. Okay, we're back. But we were hit really, really quick.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Allen says she is begging city leaders and county commissioners to help fill in the gaps. A profit she runs on the side, bringing in extra money to keep food in the pantry, but she says it can only do so much. If you want to help donate money or food, head to KSAT.com and search the story under South Side.
Well, San Antonio ranks as the 7th largest city in the U.S., but many residents still face financial struggles. On the east side, local leaders are celebrating the opening of a new resource center for families in the East Central Independent School District. Well, the United Way East Central ISD Family Resource Center, located inside Pecan Valley STEM Academy, offers free support and essentials like hygiene products through its family care closet. So this is the second center United Way has opened in San Antonio, part of a bigger effort called the Driving Possibilities Initiative with partners like Dupshlin Children's Center and Texas A&M San Antonio.
And another new resource is here to offer additional support just like that. The Buckner Family Hope Center opened its doors just yesterday. It's a child and family focused center created by private adoption agency Buckner International. It's where families can access counseling, after school programs, English classes, and family coaching.
While we can help them with their immediate needs, food and water, we want to go deeper than that. We want to engage families to help them and find out what do they need to get out of the situation that they're in, and how can we help that.
The Hope Center is at 1711 Columbia Square near Loop 410 and Marbach Road on the west side. I love seeing all those community resources pop up.
Yes, it's coming in handy, especially now.
Yeah. Very much so coming in handy. You know, I've been really hoping for some cooler weather.
Yeah.
But, you know, hoping doesn't make things happen.
I wish it did.
I wish it did too. In fact, when I look over the forecast, it's just going to be hot. And the coolest we've been all fall is not that impressive, okay? So when we look at the mornings, the coolest morning we've had in San Antonio is a low of 63. That's it. September 27th, and just a couple days ago we had a morning low of 63 degrees. It's especially important to note that by this time in the year, we have usually seen a morning at or below 60 degrees, so in the 50s. So the first time that happens on average each fall is September 26th. The latest that has happened in a fall over the last 30 years is October 19th, 60 or below being reached for the first time. The latest that's happened is October 19th. Well, October 19th is just around the corner. It's Sunday. And as we take a look at morning lows that are forecast through the weekend and into early next week, temperatures remain above average. No, we do not dip below 60 degrees at all. So we are likely to surpass that October 19th deadline, which means, according to this metric of having a morning low at or below 60 degrees, we're at our slowest start to those fall-like temperatures in over 30 years in San Antonio. So you're not just imagining it. This is a very warm start to the season. And we have this high pressure system to blame for that. High overhead, pushing down on us, preventing showers and storms from developing, deflecting all of the cool fronts and colder air masses up and over Texas. What you really need in order to see this high get out of the way, is a stronger low pressure system, stronger relative to the high. And there is a stronger low pressure system out in California right now. You can see it bringing rain to Los Angeles, even the potential for some flooding rains in LA, as well as some snow in the mountains there of California. This low is going to be the source of a very weak front that is going to move through on Sunday. If this low had been up in Canada, it would have pulled some very cold Canadian air our way, which would have resulted in that typical fall front. Instead, what we're seeing is Pacific air. It's going to be pulling in Pacific air, which is drier than our air in San Antonio and just a little bit cooler. So we're not really looking at a strong front at all. This is going to be a weak front that only has a small chance for an isolated shower or storm, 10 to 20% chance. And the biggest impact is going to be some drier air moving in behind that front, meaning lower humidity for us. So over the next several days, we are going to be stuck in that weather pattern of mornings in the 60s, afternoons near 90 degrees. Those hot afternoons will at least be dry with low humidity and no significant front. Our highs are staying in the 90s behind that front. All right, it's 80 degrees right now in San Antonio, but there are parts of our nation that are still in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So that fall air is there. It's just well to the north and blocked out by that high overhead. So as we look at the rest of the afternoon, 90 for the high in San Antonio this afternoon with low humidity, and will quickly fall into the 70s after sunset. It'll be a nice night. Looking at your 7-day forecast again, very similar weather day today. It's going to be hard for us to see much relief from this heat for quite some time, at least the next 10 days. Hey, coming up, we're going to take a look at how this October, still has the potential to be our driest October on record. Details soon.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, early voting is almost here, and one big decision is Proposition B, funding a new Spurs arena. So how similar laws worked in other Texas cities and what Senator Menendez has to say.
And with Halloween just 17 days away, parents are taking steps to protect their kids. How a Texas law is expanding the sex offender registry to keep families safer this year.
Well, 17 days until Halloween, and this is usually a time when some parents check the sex offender registry before making a trick-or-treating plan.
This year, because of Audrey's law, there are likely more names on the list. The law went into effect September 1st. The law expands the charges that would require sex offenders to register to include child grooming. Grooming is where a predator builds a trusting relationship with the child or family, making it easier for future abuse.
Well, the law came about after 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham was kidnapped and killed in February of 2024 by a family friend. Don Stephen McDougall pleaded down charges of indecency with a child so he didn't have to register as a sex offender. Now, Audrey's law closes loopholes like that one.
Grooming goes hand in hand with child sexual abuse because most of the time when a child has been sexually abused, grooming has occurred before that physical act has then taken place.
Audrey's family isn't stopping here. They want every state to pass this law. In the meantime, any family who wants to understand the signs of grooming can go to the Child Safe website and do live webinars or get fact and information sheets. We have a link to that on KSAT.com. Just search Audrey's Law.
We are less than a week away from the start of early voting, and the decision that's received a ton of attention is a vote for the funding of a new Spurs arena, Proposition B.
Our RJ Marquez spoke with Senator Jose Menendez and took a look at how another Texas city used similar legislation to help pay for a new arena. Here's part of that interview.
This is not about the Spurs. This is about us bringing new conventions, new events, new meetings to San Antonio.
Before there were any plans for a new Spurs arena, there was a piece of legislation filed by State Senator Jose Menendez.
Fort Worth, Dallas, they're building something new. Houston is also doing something.
In 2023, Menendez wrote a bill to give San Antonio the ability to use state tourism and hotel dollars to reinvest into the city.
If we don't get in on this, we're going to be at a disadvantage.
The city of Fort Worth used millions from a similar bill to help build Dickey's Arena. The city-owned arena has attracted high-profile concerts, basketball games, the U.S. Gymnastics Championships, and expanded their rodeo.
How would you evaluate how that has worked out for that city?
If the people in Fort Worth thought it was a bad deal, they would have come back in 2025 and said, hey, can we renegotiate? They have not. You know what they've done? They've tried to expand.
And here's a quick reminder there. Early voting for the upcoming election starts this coming Monday. This is October 20th, and the last day for early voting is October 31st, Halloween. Bexar County voters will decide on several things this time around, and we have those explained on KSAT.com right now.
And later tonight, KSAT will be airing our Spurs Arena special at 6:30, where we answer everything you need to know about props A and B and how this will affect you. Well, parents, listen up. New research shows that social media is hurting preteens' learning, what this means for your kids' future, and how much screen time is too much. San Antonio Startup Week is heating up with big cash prizes on the line. How students at Trinity University are competing for thousands to turn their ideas into reality. San Antonio Startup Week is in full swing with the entrepreneurial community coming together for the chance to win thousands of dollars in investments. And it's not just for working professionals. Our Devin Karp shows us how Trinity University's Stumberg competition has students vying for $25,000 on the line, all to make San Antonio a better place.
Working in a newsroom means your hands are pretty often full. Ugh. Thanks, Rocky. And whether you're trying to get a door or pay someone back for lunch, there's a lot of ways that startups could solve everyday problems. And these Trinity University students think they could be the ones to do it.
We're both computer science guys, so said, hey, we can make an app for this. And so we've gone through a lot of different changes to get where we're at today, but we're pretty solid where we're at right now.
For about a year, these college students have been combining education, inspiration, and experience, all for Stumberg.
I was in a car accident a couple years ago. During my rehab process, I had to use a wheelchair or walk in a cane, and I found out that it was extremely hard to move around my house, especially when it came to opening and closing doors.
If you go out with your friends 3 nights in a row, one person grabs a tab one time, somebody grabs it another time. It's a really, really easy, quick way to figure out, who owes who what and make sure that everyone is paying for what they ordered.
Trinity University helps put students through a startup program and a Stumberg contest, incentivizing them to think outside the box for real cash. $25,000 on the line.
One of the benefits of starting while you're a student is all of the resources that are at your disposal, and the amount of people in the community who are like, oh my gosh, I've been there, and I want to help the next generation to not get hit by the barriers I got hit by and really move past them.
The contest has invested nearly $600,000 in student ideas over the last 10 years, and it could be in things like Handy Door, a new way to install an automatic door at a fraction of the price.
It's like a small unit that attaches to the bottom of your door that has a wheel, and then with your little remote controller, you click a button and the door opens, and then you click another and the door closes.
Or a new financial app to split bills with Divvy.
So we're hoping that it makes life easier for younger people, us college-age students up to our young adults. More and more people are living with roommates and living with people that they aren't related to.
After the competition, 1 team out of 5 will win. But no matter who walks away with that money, the experience these students get could set them up for a better life. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Well, the Stumberg competition will be happening tonight at 5 p.m. on Trinity's campus, with the winner announced a little later on this evening.
All right, we are seeing blue skies in San Antonio and temperatures rising. I really do feel sometimes that I sound like a broken record, but I promise I'm going to keep it interesting, okay? Our high temperature today will be near 90 degrees. Take a look at your screen, highs near 90. This is the part of the forecast that you're used to. I want to show you, though, our year in rainfall, okay? Because we have had a few months where we've enjoyed a rainfall surplus compared to average. May, June, and August, this is all recorded at the San Antonio International Airport. Of course, July was also a rainy month, generally for the region. It's just that at the airport was actually in a rainfall deficit for July, but as we know, many areas got too much rain. So we had about 4 months here of decent rainfall, and then since September, things have really shut off for us for a good portion of South Central Texas. We're seeing drought return in a major way, and unfortunately, I just am having a hard time seeing drought. So this rainfall deficit, we're about 1.5 inches below where we should be so far this month. That's going to continue to grow. Of course, I'll have the latest on that. And could this October be our driest October in our recorded history? I'll have those details in just a bit.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Well, doctors will soon have another tool to help rule out whether or not a person has developed Alzheimer's disease. The FDA cleared another blood test that could help determine if someone has the disease. Officials say the test is geared towards adults 55 and older who are showing signs of cognitive decline.
Well, warning for parents about social media's impact on preteens. Researchers found that the more time that kids spend on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, the lower their scores are and reading and memory tests. So even just 1 hour a day showed a drop in test scores, about 1 or 2 points lower for kids ages 9 to 13 years old. Now, those who spent more time on social media saw an even bigger drop, around 4 to 5 points. While a few points might not sound huge, doctors are warning that teens tend to use social media more as they get older, putting them at greater risk for future learning challenges.
We are essentially putting an entire generation of kids in an uncontrolled experiment with the amount of social media that's out there, with how addictive these phones are, and all of it ties together. And who knows what could potentially happen in 5, in 10, in 20 years.
Well, effective today, Instagram says it is limiting what teens can see and do on the platform. It says if a user under 18 searches for an adult topic or an account that typically posts content deemed inappropriate for minors, that content will now be blocked.
Protein powders and shakes are booming in popularity, promoted as workout fuel or even meal replacements. But our Patty Santos reports a new investigation by Consumer Reports reveals a hidden danger. Some of the supplements contain worrying levels of lead.
Consumer Reports tested 23 popular protein powders and shakes. The results? Over 2/3 contain more lead in a single serving than what CR experts consider safe for an entire day. In some cases, levels were more than 10 times higher. Plant-based products had the most concerning results.
Specifically, when it came to plant-based powders, they had some of the highest levels of lead. They were 9 times higher than the dairy-based protein powders we tested, and they were double that of the beef-based powders we tested.
Naked Nutrition's vegan mass gainer tested roughly 1,570% of Consumer Reports' daily lead limit. Huel's Black Edition vegan powder also raised concerns with more than 1,200%. According to our experts, these products should be avoided altogether. A spokesperson for Huel said its ingredients undergo rigorous testing and that it was confident in the current formulation and safety of the products. In response to our findings, Naked Nutrition has requested a third-party test of its mass gainer supplement powder and said, "We take our customers' health very seriously." What about other types of protein supplements?
When it comes to the dairy-based protein powders and shakes that we tested, we found that they had the lowest amounts of lead generally. Still, about half of the products that we tested had concerning enough levels of lead or other contaminants that CR's experts advise not to use them daily.
Nutritionists say most people don't even need protein supplements. Everyday foods like beans, tofu, eggs, dairy, fish, and lean meats already supply enough. But if you want to use these powders, experts say be careful. Consumer Report experts say given the risk, you may want to use these only occasionally. Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Consumer Reports also points out that fiber is the nutrient most people are missing, and it's key to better long-term health. Federal dietary guidelines recommend adults get between 22 and 34 grams of fiber daily, depending on age and sex.
Well, this Halloween, South Texas Blood and Tissue is urging everyone to face a real fright, that is blood shortages in our community. So South Texas Blood and Tissue reporting that the scariest thing this season is not having enough blood donors to help patients in need.
And to make donating a little more fun, they're giving away a special Halloween t-shirt that says, "I need a blood donor, it's only blood." But there's a catch rather. You have to donate on Wednesday or Thursday to get one. These shirts are limited, so if you want one, don't wait. Once they're gone, they're gone.
So don't ghost your community, haha. And this Halloween, be a blood donor and help save lives. And to book your appointment, you can head over to southtexasblood.org, or you can call that number on your screen, 210-731-5590.
I see what you did there. Up to 10 times stronger than steel and 6 times lighter. I'm talking about a new superwood that one company just launched. Still ahead, the process of making it and what makes it so unique.
The job market is expanding with another way to check for job listings, where you can now search for jobs while also looking at what your friends and family are up to. Job postings are coming back to Facebook. The listings are returning to the platform after a 3-year hiatus, so they can be found inside a tab on the Facebook Marketplace section. Only those 18 and older can apply.
Amazon is hiring 250,000 people for the holiday season, the same number as the past 2 years. The openings include full-time, part-time, and seasonal positions. The new hires will work across Amazon's fulfillment and transportation networks throughout the United States. Amazon says regular and part-time workers make an average of $23 an hour plus benefits. Seasonal employees earn more than $19 an hour on average. The jobs will be listed through December at amazon.com/localjobs.
Alrighty, we are warm and we want to bring your attention to TransGuide because there is a slowdown here. This is I-10 at Frio. I believe these are the eastbound lanes of I-10. There is a crash reported. There's also construction in the area. Now, we've been watching this closely the last couple of minutes. Things have been improving. The cars have been speeding up here, which suggests that the crash has been cleared. But of course, you'll want to use caution if you're in that area. Molds are low at 230. Ragweed is low at 70. The aquifer is down a whole foot in the last 24 hours. We are in the middle of a major drought here in a month when we typically see a decent amount of rain. I'll have the latest on Hot-tober continuing after the break.
Well, up to 10 times the strength to weight ratio of steel and 6 times lighter. That's what an American company is calling a new type of wood that it has developed. They named it Superwood and has just launched commercially. The wood's superpower comes from a bath in water and certain chemicals, and from there a hot press collapses the wood at the cellular level to make it much denser. The company says the material would allow for the construction of structures potentially up to 4 times lighter than today. That would mean structures would be more earthquake resistant and easier on foundations, making construction faster and easier as well.
SpaceX launched a 1-hour test flight of its Starship mega rocket yesterday evening. The Super Heavy booster successfully separated from the Starship and landed safely in the Gulf near the Texas launch site. About an hour later, the Starship itself crashed into the Indian Ocean. This marks the 11th test flight for Starship. SpaceX is developing this vehicle to help NASA complete a moon landing scheduled for 2027. So that's a success then.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Depending on the my mic just died, so
Oh, no.
I'm gonna need to.
Here you go.
Oh, okay. What we'll do is
Be close by.
Yeah.
Here,
I'll be close
take mine.
by. Thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the graphics here. I might just have to stand here while we talk about the weather. You can see that we are expecting our driest October on record. Well, actually, it's a possibility. We're not expecting it. It's a possibility. Back in 2024, last year, we had 1/100th of an inch of rain and for the entire month. And so that means that we are close to having our driest October on record, because so far we have had 0 rainfall all month long. As we look at rain chances, Saturday and Sunday, small chance for some rain, but very, very small chance, only a 10% chance. That high pressure system is fully in control over Texas. And with that high pressure system fully in control, that's why we do not have any rain in our forecast. Meanwhile, out across parts of California, you can see that there's plenty of rain and even some snow in the mountains of California. This is a strong low pressure system. This strong low pressure system, though, is not going to be strong enough to pull in cold Canadian air. Instead, it's going to pull in some Pacific air from the Pacific, obviously, and it's going to be allowing for us to just see some drier air moving in from the north. Dry air moving in from the north means that we're going to be still hot, but nice and comfortable outside. You can see behind that front in Abilene, temperatures are still only in the 80s for the highs after that front moves through. So this is not going to be a potent front by any means. The cold air will stay to our north. Highs are going to be some 7 to 10 degrees above average, which is very warm for us. Now, on average, we see our last 90-degree day on October 19th. So seeing a 90-degree day is not all that unusual in the month of October, but the problem is we've had consistent 90-degree days over the last several days. Outside right now, it's 80. We're warming up. The good news is humidity is falling. Dew points are only right near 60 degrees. Dew points will be falling into the 50s later on this afternoon, and with that, we'll have low humidity, a high of 90, and then as we head into the evening hours, our temperatures will fall into the 70s. Looking at that 7-day forecast, very similar day today. Mornings in the 60s, afternoons near 90.
I got you, girl.
Thanks for that.
All right. We'll get her microphone charged up. In the meantime, if you're in the mood to pick out a pumpkin for Halloween this year, there's an event happening tomorrow that will give you the chance. We'll tell you where and what time so you can plan accordingly.
And Taylor Swift making another big announcement for the Swifties, the Eras Tour back on your screens, this time showing fans all behind the scenes moments and a lot more.
People like to talk about phenomenons.
Taylor Swift is celebrating the end of an era, the Eras Tour that is, with a new 6-part docuseries on Disney+. GMA breaking the news that the series will give fans a behind-the-scenes look at the tour. Disney+ will also be debuting a concert film captured at the final stop of the Eras Tour in Vancouver. Both projects will premiere December 12th. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. Save the date, Bridgerton fans. Netflix has revealed that season 4 of the period romance will air in 2 parts early next year. Part 1 will premiere on January 29th, and Part 2 will premiere on February 26th. The 8-episode season will follow the second eldest Bridgerton son, Benedict, played by Luke Thompson.
No, put Born USA on the shelf. I want this record to feel different.
With less than 2 weeks to go before Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere hits theaters, a final trailer for the film has been released. The new footage shows Jeremy Allen White's Springsteen deciding to shelve his future hit Born in the USA in favor of a different sound on his 1982 album Nebraska. The movie hits theaters on October 23rd. And singer Usher is 47 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News.
Well, if you are looking for some family fun this fall, Burbank High School has you covered. So the Burbank High School Agriculture Science Department is hosting its annual pumpkin patch that's happening tomorrow. So the event will run from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Burbank High School Farm. This is on Edwards Street. And there's something for everyone. So they have hay rides, some fun games, snacks, of course, and a wide selection of pumpkins for sale. Plus, the kiddos can dig into a corn pit and show off their costumes in a contest. The best part here, it's only $2 to get inside.